Welcome to One of Those, the show that explores the art of sneaker culture. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. Dope guest today, good dude, man. This guy's really cool, super knowledgeable when it comes to just everything sneaker culture. He has a show that's really dope. I've been on this show before. He's been on this show before. Can't wait to introduce him. But before that, remember to like this video. Remember to subscribe to this channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Do that for me, okay? Share the video, comment on the video, do all of those things. Cut on your notification bell when you subscribe to the channel. It helps us out trying to grow this channel, y'all, trying to get this thing. Let's get this thing to 100 subscribers. We real humble. These are humble days. So let's get this channel to 100 subscribers. Help me do that, okay? Spread the word. Help me do that. All right. Let's jump right into it, man. My man Haas is in the building, the host of the My First Kicks podcast. Y'all know it. If y'all in this space, y'all know that podcast. If you don't, you're about to learn about it. Me and Haas talked about a whole lot, man. We got into it because he's just a great conversation. I love having him on the show, man. I love talking sneakers and culture with him. And we talked about the business, all of it, man. Creatives, all of it. We talked about it all, man. Let's jump right into it, man. My man Haas is in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's good? Yo, thanks for having me back on, man.
No, man. Listen, man, I'm glad we got through the technical issues, and I'm glad we got the scheduling right. We've been working on this one for a while. So
For real.
I'm happy to have you on, man. One second, make sure I'm on the... Okay, good, yeah. I'm happy to have you on, man. Couple things to talk to you about, but since this is like a relaunch of the show, and, you know, you were on the previous iteration of the show. It's the same show, but you were on when I was with the other network. Kind of reintroduce yourself to the people, man. Talk about the my first Kicks pod. I want to look. I got you back here too. The stickers right there.
I'm glad you got them because we can talk about it real quick. I sold you some sneakers, and I was like, you know what? Let me hook you up with some stickers that I have. And I was just like, you know, they'll be cool, and appreciate you for putting it on. Yeah, that QR code does not work. Do not use it.
That's okay. It's not like so. I decided to make this like my people that's been on the show wall, like my little, like, you know, since they can't come in and sign or anything like that, they give me any like stickers or anything like that and put up on the wall. So you're on there along with a few other folks. So
that's dope. That's dope. Appreciate it. But
you've been here before. But yeah, tell me about the show, man. It's a great concept, by the way. Let the people know.
Thank you. My name's Haas. I like to go by Haas, with full name's Hassan. Do a podcast called My First Kicks. I bring on a guest each week and ask them what's that first kicks, what's that first pair of sneakers they absolutely needed to have. And I use sneakers as a through line to have a conversation. Yeah. So when you were on, I feel like my iteration of the podcast was a little bit different.
A little different.
Yeah.
It was
and so now I feel like I've branched it out so that anybody of any form of life can jump on now. So, because one thing I've always found interesting and that I've always used as an icebreaker was that question. Like, I know you're always wearing fresh kicks. Yeah. Like if you're into sneakers, you're always wearing fresh kicks. Yeah. And I was always that person. And somebody's always complimented on me. Like be like, yo, man, those are fire. How'd you get those? Right? Simple. Yeah. Even people who aren't into sneakers will ask you that. And then I just go, do you have a pair that you would? Because immediately when they be like, I'm not into sneakers, but man, those are fire. And you'd be like, okay, but everybody has that one pair. They're just like, they're like, yo, man, I had to have these. My mom made me, and some people can pigeonhole you into being like, it's a sneaker podcast. Yeah. And that's fine and dandy, right? Because when I have, people like Jock Slade on or Russ Bankston or, people who've just been in this game for super long, I'm picking their brain. Like, I'm trying to get the stuff that people aren't really asking about and the stories that come with that, because my biggest love of sneaker culture are the stories. Yeah. And it's not necessarily the stories the brands tell you, but it's always been the stories that the people have told me when I'd wait on lines, when I'd stay going every single day to DQM and talking to the people there and being like, yo, man, did you get these? Or did you, and I also feel like it's something that's missing now in terms of just like that community of where we can just have these conversations and not get volatile and people telling each other they're wrong. Right. but it's like, yeah, I think it's opinionated based conversations, and I like using sneakers to sometimes talk to people who have reached real like heights, like different types of heights, and you find out, sometimes you find out the sneakers took them there, and it's like absolutely wild.
Yes. Yeah, our shows are similar in that way where, because I made that switch to this show as well, making it more like a culture show. Like one of those is like a, okay, yeah, we could talk sneakers for a minute, but I also want to talk about culture and cultural topics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's where, because we're going to talk about like sneaker culture in general and how much has changed even since the last time me and you spoke, on air. Because I would say when you and I spoke, it was probably about a year ago, maybe two. I don't know. It was, let's say a year, right? And that shows how fast things have changed. We're really like in a real hype beast moment,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and everything was just about like the hype, and even anybody that listens to the show understands. I said this before, like that's why I got tired of doing the show, because I felt like I got caught up having to talk about the hype, and I'm not a super young guy, right? Like I'm a dad and a husband, and I am not into the hype, but I do love the culture, and I felt like that was lost for a second. I do feel like we're at a space now in sneaker culture when we've, like, for lack of a better term, sort of weeded out some of the whack, you know what I mean? And the people that are interested in sneakers are either people that are in it because they love it, or people that are just genuinely interested in it. You know what I mean? They may not have a large sneaker collection, but they're like, yo, I am interested in that. I like that this person has that and those, and what are those? What are your first kicks? The conversation piece, and just the genuine curiosity about it,
Okay.
And I kind of feel like that's a good thing, man. What do you think?
I think so. Before we were jumping on, I was on the treadmill and I was thinking about the exact same thing, because I was talking to Sneaker Fetish.
Yeah.
And shout out to Kari.
Man. Yeah.
And I think we're approaching. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're approaching sneaker culture reset, right?
Yeah.
Like, because yes, you're right. Where the people who we consider the whack people are starting to get weeded out, but we're still gonna have the people that use the culture to get to the top, right? And then they're like, all right, now I got 500,000 social media followers. Now I can branch off and talk about cars,
talk about guns and cars and whatever else is hot and trending at the time, right? Yeah. No, and anybody in particular, just
get your bread.
They jump on that trend. I'm with you. I understand what you're getting at. Yeah.
So and now I think like the brands are starting to see like, okay, how do we get the people to stay with us? Because we've been selling to the people who are reselling it, and the people who are making content for so long,
right,
that now we got to build back our community that we've ostracized over the past like 4 years, right? 2020 is probably, I want to say, the second bubble of like reselling, from 2016 with the Galaxy foams, and now you get, and I think that we are approaching this reset, and I've been doing this podcast for 3 years, right? And now I'm starting to see a little bit of an uptick of people being a little bit more interested in the guests that I'm having on and stuff like that. And people actually coming out and be like, yo, man, I love what you've been doing. And that's always weird. It's weird to me because I've been doing it for so long that I haven't gotten that. And now they're like, yo, this is great. So I'm just like, cool. But at the same time, it's like I have to appreciate and have to notice that once we get to this reset, which I feel like we're getting to, the sneakers will matter again, and it's going to matter in terms of a passion sense, not in terms of just like, I'm just trying to make money, I'm just trying to make content. And both those things actually lead to each other, because if you make the content on the sneaker and be like, these are the sneakers you need to have this summer, and that video gets you 1 million views, the brands will hit you up, so they will send you sneakers, and you will get those. But now I don't think that works anymore.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. I never thought, when I was writing for BuzzFeed, I would get like little I would get seeded every now and then, with nothing like crazy, but just like a new brand is around and they wanted to seed me something, or maybe I might get like an Adidas or something like that. I remember like it was like a box brand, like one of those like, we'll do your whole wardrobe for you brands.
Oh,
what it was, and
Hypebeast probably.
it wasn't Thread Beast, but I think it was Thread Beast. What Thread Beast was originally, I think before they changed your name to Thread Beast. And I got like some Adidas and a couple of things. I would get like stuff like that, clothes, stuff like that. But I never was in a position where it was like, hey, look, you want the off-white because you're out enough to show it. And I think that's what 2020. And even to extent, to some sense before 2020, but you're right, like the peak of 2020, the Last Dance, all of that, like it really became like, okay, sneakers are hot. So who is the hottest person we can have rocking the sneaker? Well, it's not Joe Blow creator that's been in the game for a long time, or this collector that's been in the game for a long time. It's Kim Kardashian. It's, it's ASAP Rocky. It's nobody. Again, shouts to them, but it was like put it on the celeb. And for me, the sneakers, which is going to lead me to some of the releases that are coming soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
The re-releases. To me, the sneakers became more about watching what celeb can get their hands on this thing you can't get.
Right. I call it FUBU Marketing because like that FUBU, I feel like is the originator of that stuff, right? Where it's like, I'm gonna get my peoples that I think that are famous in the video with my stuff on. They go, Damon Jones really like maximized on that.
Yeah, that's real. That's a good point.
And I feel like brands, you still continue to this day using that because it's always just like get the hottest person in whatever you're trying to push.
Yep.
And once you do that, it's gonna sell.
Yeah, and it causes like a bit of like FOMO, right? Like because and then that's how a reseller benefits, right? Because if I'm seeing some, rapper A, celebrity B, oh, look at Ben Affleck in his sneaker collection, right? And I'm like, God, he has this and that and this. I might go spend $1,000 on a pair of off-whites or on a pair of Travs or on a pair of whatevers, right? And, spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. I spend a lot of money on sneakers. Trust me, I've done, I dropped the big bag on things I wanted in my life. So I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite, right? But
you be directing this though, man. You got director money. You got director money, bro.
And listen, you got to treat yourself every now and then. But you hey, don't say that to my look. My wife hear that and be like, what? You know what I'm saying? But
you got to put it on. You got to put it on Butler Productions credit card.
Yeah, I got to put it at the LLC, right? Because we ain't really. But the I think that just from the energy of the game, it got kind of like whack. And like from a creator, I felt like I don't want to create that because I feel like no one wants to listen unless I'm doing the top 10 list or I'm showing you this or I can give you this early. As a sneakerhead, I never stopped because I just love being a sneakerhead and I love, I love the art of fashion, the art of sneakers, right? So it never ended. But you mentioned like being a creator in this space, especially during that time. I've heard a lot of creators talk about how much pressure it was just to kind of keep up with the Joneses of sneaker culture. You know what I mean? And then all sorts of nasty things come from that. This is when the reps got real crazy and all of this stuff, I just think it was, to use a Star Wars term, there was no balance in the force for a while. You know what I mean?
This is why I chose the high ground, bro. That's why I was just like, that's why I was like, so I don't know if you remember early, like when you think of sneaker culture, right? Was it in the early time when you were collecting, probably around the same time as me? Was it always I gotta be up on the latest drops, or was it I got the heat?
Yeah, I think it was more I got the heat. There were people that were like standing in line. If I think about like, again,
but I also feel like the standing in line is for a shoe you're gonna wear next year.
Exactly. So I was about to say you had your people that was like, I'm a collector. Those are the people that was like trying to get their hands on like the, like the original 85 pair, like, don't you had those people. But I do think it was more about like, I just picked up some heat and I'm about to wear that heat out to wherever I'm going. The heat was it was about getting the heat. And it was also about, I think it was a little bit about being different too. You were talking about the Air Force One era, you know what I mean? And people wanting to like, maybe you weren't a sneakerhead, but you just really wanted that like blue and red Force because it's going to go with your Patriots jersey.
Fit. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you wanted that, you know, in DC, we were big on the Nike boot. We were big on the foam posit. And it wasn't like, oh, I've got this is the penny so-and-so and so-and-so. It was, I got the green foams to go with the da-da-da. I got the silver foams to go with it was, you know, there were less knowledgeable people about what the sneaker was.
Right.
But it was about, I got the heat on my feet so I can, you know, I look good. And I'm not saying that was better or worse. I do want people to start buying things and wearing things because they want it and they feel good in it, and not because, well, everybody has, you know, I got to get the, you know, the whatever latest greatest because that's what's going to sell. I don't even want to wear it because I got to hold on to it because if I wear it once or twice, I'm going to, you know, it's this TikToker on dude has like a sneaker store. You might know who I'm talking about, but if you don't, it's all good. It's this guy has a sneaker store. He's somewhere in the Midwest, and all he's doing is just like buying stuff and like, you know, somebody will come there, just sit the stuff on there, and he'll be like, how much you want for all this? You know what I mean? And he'll go through it, and if it's fake, he'll go, oh, this is boo-boo. This is boo-boo, man. They got you. I
think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you know, and God bless him, but he's usually getting people. Like, somebody come in here, like, what you thinking? They're like, oh, man, I was thinking I could get like 1,200. He'll go through it, and some of it is heat. You know what I'm saying? And he'll show like the real StockX prices up top, and he'll go, yeah, I was about at like 600 for all of this. And they'll go, God, 600. I mean, could you do 7? And he'll go, let's flip a coin.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I win, if you win, you get the 7. If I win, you got to give me, you know, I got to give you 550 or something like that. And then, you know, they're flipping a coin. And again, no doctor's business. I'm not going on him, right? It's not, he's not the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I would say yes, he is. But all right, go ahead.
Hey, and probably so, right? But to me, it's the idea of I bought all these sneakers and one day I'm going to cash in. I've got all this stuff and I'm going to get $1,400 for it because I spent X amount of money for it. I probably only wore this stuff once or never because I held on to it, and I'm going to get a big payday from it. And then you walk in and you're on TikTok and you're seeing the dude tell you, now I'm giving you less than half of what you asked for and probably what you paid for. And you can see the disappointment in almost everyone's face when they walk out of there like, I just lost money and lost time. So I say all that to say, I think we got to get out of the idea of, now some things are going to always, like, because you got, you know, certain pairs of, you know, I keep naming the same stuff, trash, stuff like that. But a couple of years ago, if you had certain Yeezys, you thought you was in the money.
Yeah.
Now they sitting on the website.
I mean, I always bring up that video of that dude with the zebras, buying those zebras. It's my favorite video of all time. I'll bring it up every chance because that is the epitome of getting got.
Yeah. And that reseller mentality is what got a lot of people in trouble. And if you care about the culture, that's what hurt the culture. You have people buying up stuff. I mean, that same TikToker, you see people coming in, I got 9 pair of reimagined Bread 4s. All right, yeah, I give you 500 for them.
It's crazy. But it's like, I don't even, because like I remember earlier, you know, Flight Club would cash people out. And that's like, I feel like that's where they would be like, you show the picture and it'd be like, because I remember one time I pulled up the Flight Club and dude had every single Defining Moments pack, and I had to help him because he dropped the box outside, and I was just like, "Oh snap, I got you!" And I got like 2 of them, and I helped him to bring them into Flight Club so he could sell them all in bulk, just like that. And I'm just like, I'm trying to hear what he's selling them for. And I'm like, well, you know, eavesdropping, and then he was getting like not a lot for it. I was like, that's crazy. But I never, because like, obviously buy, sell, trade is part of this game, right? That's how you build your collection, right? And the idea of cashing out came from when somebody needed to, like, their house burned down and they're like, I gotta pay for everything. You know what I mean? So that was just like a, yo, help me out. I got this, my whole collection is you know, up for grabs. I gotta go. Oh, I'm moving. I can't take everything with me. Cash me out.
Wedding ring.
You know, it was
something. I want to go on a trip.
Right. And now it's turned into this like get rich quick thing when it was like like if you ask me how much my collection is worth, I'm gonna be like, whatever, 22,
Right.
22, all right, 22 grand, whatever.
Right.
No, $1,200. But I don't want to get got. So
$4.
Yeah. So, but in a pinch, I'm already looking at it like, okay, I have X amount of money in the bank.
Yeah.
I got this much in there, and I'm gonna individually sell everything on eBay and get my bread. I'm never I understand the ease of just loading it up into a U-Haul, bringing it to a shop, and then you getting cash right there, right? Yeah. But I feel like you're taking away the part where it matters, where it's like you list it, you put it on the forums, you put it on IG. You get your money. What you think you're supposed to get, you're supposed to get. Now you're not supposed to be giving these shops a layup.
No.
Right?
Not so losing $40, $50 on each pair, right? And then I traded some stuff recently because I had a bunch of size 11s, and 11 is just a little too tight for my foot. Depending on the silhouette. So I traded some 11s for like a size 12 in a shoe that I really wanted. May even had to pay like $20, because it just the math didn't work out cool, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I've also in the past have sold big hyped up sneakers for a lot of money for a trip, to put down on the trip or to put down on something, right? Cool. But the mentality of I only have this stuff, I'm renting this stuff basically. Like I bought it and I'm afraid to wear it because I know I'm going to sell it one day. I think it's just not a smart way to go about it. And I think it's less about, and I asked the question the other day about how many sneakers do people have in their collection? Right. That wasn't to judge anybody, but I was just curious because my follow-up, and I never really did it, but my follow-up was going to be, don't feel bad if you don't have 1,400 sneakers or 800 sneakers or 200 sneakers if you only have 5, because if you're wearing those 5, you got your money's worth.
Exactly.
If you have 300 and you're not a collector and you're not like a sneakerhead, you probably have those 300 hoping you're going to cash in one day. And you probably bought some stuff that's not going to be cool in 2-3 years and not worth. Again, if you were selling a bunch of Yeezys in 2019, you can go to the Bahamas with that. You can go take a trip to Rome and then go see all of Europe. Now you short. And so it's just like, I think that during that 4-year stretch that we talk about, 2002, well, really 3 years, 2000, 2023, depending on if you think it's over or not, right? That's what the game was really about. You had content creators really focused on, you should buy this sneaker because it's going to resell for this, and you should hold this sneaker because, and we're not talking about why the sneaker is just dope on its own. Maybe it's not a hyped up sneaker. Maybe it's a $60 sneaker. And so now I'm seeing people wearing different brands and different stuff because it looks good and it's comfortable. And that's what it's always been about for me.
Right. And I feel like, as we getting back into that too, where you get brands like Saucony, pulling up and doing things, and New Balance is in collaborating with the right people, in my opinion, in terms of just getting it into people, like getting stuff into the hands of people that want to wear it. Like we're in that era of like, we're buying sneakers to wear them now. And I think that's really cool. And it's also just like, it proves that like, the people that who like weather the storm are here to stay type of thing. Or like, my thing is just like, during that, or like, this is why I don't make content like that, right? Where it's like, this is the new shoe you should buy or whatever. But it's because it doesn't hook people in. And people always tell me I need a hook. And I'm like, my hook is what your first gets. You just got to listen to the episode. But when it comes to like regular videos or like, where I jumped off of the whole making TikToks and stuff like that. But my thing was like, if we think about legacy, and like we started doing this and we started being like, I want to tell stories. I want to tell other people's stories. Like, how are we going to bring newer sneakerheads in? Right. And that's been the question I've been asking myself since the beginning of this year. And because I'm going to start doing extra different type of content. And I'm all about, we all need to, we are in a state of, we need to learn more. Right. And me myself, because I forgot more than I actually learned, right? So it's like I grew up in all this stuff. I grew up in sneaker culture. Grew up loving this, and my base has always been hip hop. I treat everything like it's hip hop, right?
Yeah, sneaker
So
culture, the subculture of hip hop.
for sure, and so for me, it's like it's always been about community and how do we continue this cycle to come back, right?
Yeah.
And all this content that we've seen, like where it comes from people bullying each other, or on like, yo, you ain't got these, blah blah blah, or like, or where it comes from, you know, I got these early, like it's not that fun in terms of just like we're not starting a conversation. You're just trying to get a rise out of people, and you want that engagement. And for me, that's like, I've always thought about it as filler content. Like until we get to where people are like, oh, I want to hear the stories and stuff like that. Like that's where I feel like now that's how we get these kids that appreciate what we appreciated back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And it's I want to say that, like, I struggle, and I talked about this recently. I struggle with, all I have to do is get this in front of your face and get my podcast in front of your face, and you gonna like it. Like you're gonna go back and listen to all the episodes. Like I struggle with that part, but I know, as you said like earlier, that I have a good thing. I have a good message.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, how do we bring that love for sneakers back in the community where people aren't ashamed to call themselves sneakerheads like they do now, you know?
Yeah. You do, by the way. And I spoke to Kari recently. Me and Kari don't talk like that. I'm not gonna act like me and Kari are like friends, but I respect him. You know what I mean? I don't know him enough to not, you know. But I reached out to him because I like what he's doing now, which is like the storytelling, short form vids. And not to say I didn't like what he was doing before. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't a big fan of like the sneaker Twitter spaces that was going on that kind of turned into like, what are we doing here? And it wasn't necessarily Kari's fault. It was just like everyone who just got like super deep in them Jones, and like some of the stuff is like, y'all not talking about sneakers anymore. Now y'all are talking about like true social issues that are sneaker adjacent, you know, and that's fine, but it's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? But again, that's not a Kari problem. That was just the space problem, right?
Right. I think that's just an X problem, and Twitter problem in general.
A Twitter problem, right? It's a Twitter problem. But when I spoke to Kari recently, I didn't even mention that. I just told him like, oh, I really like what you're doing with these short form videos, just like kind of telling the story about the sneaker that's in hand. And he was like, yo, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know, sometimes it feels like no one's watching. I don't say that to put him out there. I say that because we all feel that way. And some people would probably look at him as someone who's a bigger creator and think, wow, you feel like no one. So we're all like in the same space. And I think that, you know, one of the reasons I bought this show back, and one of the reasons I'm glad you're still going, is that the content that's a little bit different than, hey, I got this, and this is new, and I just got them 5 weeks early, and this is why you should hold them because this, that, and that. I think that is what people are interested just from a culture perspective. Whether you're talking hip hop, whether you're talking sneakers, whether you're talking sports, whatever your niche is, people want authenticity. People want stories. They don't. Anyone could just show them. Anyone, if you were all up in the Kendrick and Drake beef, and you were one of the content creators around it, right? Anyone could go, yo, Drake said this, that's crazy. Kendrick said that, that's crazy. But if you have a story, if you have compelling content behind this bigger content, right, then you're going to outlast that beef, right? Right now, you're still successful with content. Now that the beef is, you know, kind of dried out and somewhat over, right?
Right.
Same thing with sneakers. Now that sneakers aren't the hype and everyone wants to be a part of it and everyone has a say, and some people are kind of sneaking their way into it because it was the hotness, and now they're talking about, you know, throwing frisbees because that's the new trend, right? People like you are going to live through that. And that's why I told Kari, like, I'm glad to see you. I'm happy to see what you're doing now, because one thing people were kind of getting into even in that time was not Kari, but people, I'm the sneaker hater now, or I'm the one with the tea, or I'm the one with the mess. And I, you know, again, sneakers to me, they're supposed to be fun.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be fun, so I don't
Yeah.
get, I never understood that, man. But
I mean, like even recently, where I had Keely on my podcast, and we talked about shout out to Keely, and we talked about people making videos saying sneakers are boring, and I made a video saying that no one cares, right? And the only reason I made that is because I was just kind of fed up with the way people are making content to make people try to make things interesting again. And it always blows my mind, right? Where if you're bored of something, you don't have to announce it. Like I'm so big on this. Like you'll never see me be like, I stopped listening to this podcast because I don't like it anymore. I just stopped listening to it, and that's it.
What are you going to change? Like, what are you seeking? Basically, what you're saying is, I was on trend. Now the trend isn't trendy anymore, and I'm done with it. Because sneakerheads don't get bored with sneakers. Just like basketball fans don't get bored with basketball. You may be critical of what's going on within the space, but you're not bored with basketball. So yeah, I watched that episode and I thought that was curious as well. You know what I mean? I've seen other people. Shouts out to Jalissa. She said something similar. Jalissa, I should say her name right.
Yes, I was gonna correct you.
Correctly. Shouts to her. It's dope. But she said something similar. A lot of people said that, you know what I mean, when that was like a trendy thing to say. And again, that's just people jumping on trend, man. And I think that's just whether you are a content creator or whether you're just someone that's just interested in just getting involved in it deeper than, I'll go to the Foot Locker every now and then and buy some sneaks. You don't jump into something because it's on trend. I wouldn't suggest you do that with anything because you will get bored with it, man.
For sure. I've been thinking about like what the representation of my podcast is, because like obviously my numbers aren't crazy, but obviously the people that mess with me, and I think that I'm like the underground hip hop of sneaker podcasts.
Oh, and I would say something to that before we switch gears.
Yeah,
I'll say something to that because podcast numbers. So I produce podcasts professionally, like for my 9 to 5, right? Numbers are down across the board because again, the trend isn't as hot as it used to be, right? Along with the market being oversaturated. But the true podcasts are going to always shine through and get through and be successful because of consistency. And one thing you are is consistent, right? So you build up an audience. Your numbers, if I'm you, I wouldn't focus on, I got this many downloads, that many downloads. What I would focus on is your retention rate.
Yeah.
How long are they listening to your show? Are they finishing your show? Right? Your eyes on your social. And then when you get to the point, and I think you've done a live show before, if I'm not.
Yeah, I have.
You need to keep doing live shows.
Yeah.
You should keep doing live shows because that's going to show, because what you want, because I think you saying underground hip hop of sneakers is so spot on, because you could be like an underground artist that wherever I go, someone's going to want to see me perform. It doesn't matter if I'm doing Drake numbers. That's not even realistic anymore. Am I doing numbers, and are they consistent? And are people listening to my content from the beginning to not even all the way to the end, but at least close to the end? Are you getting sent through my show? Then you win it.
It's true. I mean, it's tough because, like, you were talking about bringing this podcast back, and then I remember messaging you back like, yo, I'm a big person. I'm a big believer of like not everybody should have a podcast, but like if you have like a message and you're a great talker off the bat, so like I've always like when I had you on, I was just like, no, he's got to keep going. So when you were like, I'm back, I'm like, yeah, because it's something. I feel like it's this representation of it, and your ability to have conversations with other people. It's about this, and it'd be different than me. It's like, because like we kind of are straddling those same lines.
Our shows are similar for sure.
Yeah. And so I think that I'm glad you brought this back, and and I'm glad you had me on too, because recently, I've not recently, I've always complained about this, and it comes from the community aspect, right?
Yeah.
So I've had several hosts of other podcasts on, and I get the invite onto their podcast for the few and far between. But I think it's like it's the same thing with like the community in this, right? So within sneakers. And I've said this before, within sneakers, sneaker culture in itself is greedy, right? It's all about, oh, I got this first, oh, I got this, right? So when it comes to helping anybody else out, it's like few and far between. You got to be like, oh, I'm in the circle, and now, oh, we in the group chat, right? And it's like,
about to get me started.
It's like, it's frustrating, and I'll complain about it. Yeah, I'll complain about it until I start getting like responses back of like, just tell me, like straight up message me, be like, yo, I appreciate the offer, for to jump on your pod, or no, it should be like, yo, I heard the episode, and the reason why I won't have you on is because I don't mess with you like that. So then why'd you jump on? Like I just want to be like, why'd you jump online then?
Bro. So, man, okay. I've been podcasting and I've been in this biz for a long time, since before online radio, right? And reaching across has always been an issue because everyone wants to be a star. So when they do your pod, it's like, I'm doing you a favor. Like, it's a good look for you. And I feel like everyone has it wrong. Everybody loves Issa Rae, but they don't want to live by the motto that Issa Rae says, which is like, don't stop reaching up, reach across, right? And reaching across is not disrespectful. Like you reaching across to me and me reaching across to you is not saying, "Oh, you're a little man, so we're gonna help." No, it's that I respect what you're doing, and why not keep it together? You being on this show, me being on your show is a perfect example. We've said it several times that our shows are very similar. It's real easy for me to look at you and you to look at me and be like, "Cause you all up in my lane. You're doing the show I'm trying to do. Only I can succeed." And no, it's. Even though our shows are similar, they're still different. It's still, so my niche is good. My lane is good. Your lane is good. And why not help each other along the way? So, I agree with you, man. When I was, the first time around and I had, iHeartRadio and all this and that, I felt like everybody should want to come on the show. And some of the people, and there were people that I was trying to reach out to for very specific reasons. I'll say this, some of those spaces were centered around the reason why I wanted to get some people on the show, because there were people saying, we don't get respect. We don't get respect. I need the respect. And I'm like, well, here I am. I got the iHeart stamp behind me. LeVar Arrington is running the network, all these former NFL players, all this. Come on through. And I would have to fill out all these forms and do all this stuff and just like get treated like I'm doing you a favor. And everybody has a little bit of ego, and my ego started getting in the way because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, if this is a community, I get it. If you don't have time, you don't have time. But then what would be worse? Because that's one thing. Okay, whatever hoops I gotta hop through to get you on the show. I'm a vet. I've been here. I understand how that goes. You're not even gonna tell nobody you was on the show?
Yo, oh my God, bro. I've had a couple people on, and I don't even get the tag. Like, I don't even get the repost. And I'm like, yo, like, I get it that, you're on the show and your name, maybe if somebody decides to Google it,
right,
will come up. But you got to hit me with at least a repost.
But what I learned, and this is something, before we begin to wrap up. This is something that I hope you remember. I learned this a long time ago. It's actually not about the guests you get. You can literally have Obama on your show, and it'll do better. But it's not. People aren't looking for your show for, oh my God, so and so's on the show. What they're looking for is the conversation you have with the person.
For sure.
So that means anybody can be on your show. The conversation is compelling. If I have a compelling conversation with, the CEO of Nike, then so be it. But if I just have the CEO of Nike on and all we talking about, if I'm just asking the cue card questions, then that's no different than the Entertainment Tonight interview. It's no different. I could find that information about the CEO of Nike or the CEO of Adidas or the president of the United States anywhere. What did you get from that person? What was the conversation that you were able to have? So the Shannon Sharp show works, Club Shay Shay works because something wild comes out of that conversation every single time. And he's had bigger guests than Cat Williams on, or bigger guests than Amanda Seales on, or bigger guests than whoever else, Monique on his show. He's had huge guests, and those numbers have been way lower. Usher has been on there, and those numbers were lower than the Cat Williams show. Usher's a bigger star than Cat Williams. Nobody's going to argue that, right?
Yeah.
But because the Cat Williams conversation was so compelling, that episode hit. You see what I'm saying? So I stopped worrying about, okay, you're not going to promote the show. Cool, whatever. If I have you on, first off, I got to like you. Okay? Or I got to find you interesting. And two, we're going to have a compelling conversation. You're not on here to PR your stuff.
Right.
We're on here to talk about whatever comes up. I always tell people the conversation is fluid. The conversation is natural. I gave you a topic before we got on this show, and we haven't even talked.
We haven't been talking about it yet, but on this topic though, so early on first year, you know, I will say it. I was straight up say it. I was blue check mark chasing like a mo, right? So like, that's what I thought was it, right?
Yeah.
And also on the topic of just like, you know, having the similar topics, right? So I would invite some people, and then it'd be like, you know, oh, I think it was like really early on, I got a message saying that like I would jump on, but so I'm working with somebody that's doing a similar topic, right? And crushed me, right? And anybody listening, everybody watching, if you think your idea is original,
it ain't.
No idea is original, right? Somebody already thought it. And you gotta accept that. But what you have to also drill into your brain is nobody can do it like you. And everybody have lived a different life. We are all not drones. We are all have different stories to tell, and no one can do it like you. And you can easily drop a podcast like me or Adams, and then maybe it'll go crazy because you have like, you know, you were in the line where somebody got shot, like, you know, like you know, something crazy, and you just you have 170 episodes of crazy stories that you just drop each episode, and everybody's coming through and be like, yo, I was there, yo, you know, and that's different because, you know, I have a different message that I want to display. You have a different message you want to display, and doesn't matter if the topic's the same. We all live different lives. So I say that, right, to say, like, in the beginning, I was, like, chasing that. And then I had to fall in love with the idea that I wanted to do this for me. And once I did that, that's when it just started going crazy, right? It just started, like, now I'm interviewing people that have influenced me when I was a young kid, like people that I never thought I remember, I'll tell you this, and I'm sorry I'm dragging your podcast super long now, but I remember being on the forums and loving DQM and going every day to DQM, and I remember somebody posting, being like, in my little group chat on AIM, being like, yo, I'm going to have the chance to interview Dave Ortiz. And I was jealous. I was like, texting my boy on the side, be like, yo, why them? Why them? I want to meet Dave. Yeah. And so flash forward to 2022, and I interview Dave Ortiz. Yeah. So this guy, like, and then after we were talking about, like, I show him like the old DQM stuff that I have. Yeah, he was like, yo, this is amazing. And, you know, still to this day, we still talk here and there. And and you just never know. You just never know. And and I've been saying this since the jump, you just got to bet on yourself, because once you start doing something for you, because we live in a world where we're just working for somebody else at any different level. But once you start doing something for you, it's actually a lot more fulfilling.
Yo, Haas dropping gems, man. We're going to end it on that note, brother. Drop gems, drop the mic. I love it, man. Great conversation with you, man. Thank you so much for joining me, bro. We're going to do it again, obviously.
Of course. I got to get you back on for one of these kick talks that I do. We can talk about kicks. You know, I like I gotta hit you up. Yeah, you gotta let me know when you're in New York so we can do an in studio one.
Hey, listen, I can get to NY. That ain't nothing. I'm in DC. That's what a 3 hour, 4 hour.
Only if you bring you gotta bring either Ben's Hot Chili Bowl because I've never had it. Or what's the fish fry place with the sandwich? The fish sandwich.
The fish sandwich. It's a couple.
It's like whatever the one that was like. I watched an episode of Anthony Bourdain's No Reservation. He goes to DC and he wants to. He's like,
you might be talking about like Horse and Dickies or something like that. But even way, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you the Ben's Chili Bowl for sure. That's nothing. That's right around the corner. I got you. All right, bet. Big shout outs to the homie, man. Always come through with great conversation. Got some bonus content with him as well. I'm gonna try to get that out soon. Talked about a couple of just like more detailed sneaker subjects, something that's just more for the sneakerhead. So I'll get that out in a few, probably, maybe, I don't know. I won't make a promise, but hopefully it'll be out this week. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. Big shout outs to him, man. Follow the man, follow that page. Look, he's back there somewhere. I think that's his sticker. Yeah, I'm pointing at. There we go. There's a sticker right there, man. Good dude, man. Anyway, man, follow that man. Check out that podcast. It's super dope. If you're a fan of this one, you'll definitely be a fan of that pod. Remember to mind your mental health, ladies and gentlemen. Mind your mental health. Mind your mental health. Do that for your boy, okay? Mind your mental health. Take care of yourselves. Mind your physical health. Especially to my brothers out there. Take care of your physical health, man. Get out there. The show is all about happiness and being and enjoying hobbies and subcultures and all of that, man. So take care of your mental health, all right? Take care of your physical health. And please, ladies and gentlemen, never forget and always remember to be great. I'm about here. Peace.